Have you all done that? Yes, okay. And you all have understand it thoroughly, yes? Anybody have any questions on any of them? Okay, that's a little bit of then a river review. Page 19. Once you figure out how the chords all work. Chords working like that are the underpinnings for how you're going to get from here to there to there and so forth. That gets you where you're going. But what else do you need? You need meter and or rhythm. Now, I'm assuming at this point, and that could be an error on my part, but I'm going to make it anyway. Do you all know all the kinds of notes? In other words, this is a
Whole note.
whole note. If I add a stem to it, what do I get?
Half note.
A half note. And if I fill in that
Quarter note.
water, very good. And if I add a flag,
Eighth.
and if I add 2 flags, and if I add 3, and you've got the idea. And beyond that, it's very hard to count. What do you do if you need something that goes beyond a whole note? A double whole note. Okay? You don't find that often, but you will find it sometimes. And you can also then find, what does the dot after note do?
Adds half the value.
Adds half the value. So let's assume that we're in the 4/4 time, which means what?
4 beats in the measure.
4 beats in the measure, and the quarter note gets the beat. PR equals the beat. Okay. So in this, the quarter note, there are four of these in one measure. There are how many half notes?
2.
And how many whole notes?
1.
And how many double whole notes? None. Very good. Okay, so we don't have that. If I'm in 4/8, there are how many beats in the measure? 4. What kind of note gets 1 beat? Okay, so we're going to jump down here to 1 flag, and there are of these 8 notes. How many in measure? There are 4. So a measure is going to look like. Okay, and you can also then have how many quarter notes in a measure? In a measure of 4/8 time, how many quarter notes? 2. How many half notes?
1.
How many whole notes?
None.
None, because you've got too many beats in that to go over. So if you are writing in 4/8 or anything and you exceed the value, and suppose you are playing something and you want it to exceed the value, what do you have to do? Tie. Somebody said it, tie. So you would have the half note tied to another half note. Is that right? In 4/8, there's one error. Something's wrong. The stem. Which way should it go? Down. Okay. Is that right?
No, it should go up.
Thank you. Why?
Because it's on the bottom part of the staff. The note is, so the flag is.
This is the stem.
Yeah.
It's on the bottom part of what?
It's on the lower part of the staff. So
Staff.
yeah.
This is the staff. Bottom line doesn't need more spaces. And if it's on the lower part, as opposed, what happens if it's here and here?
Then it goes down.
Goes down.
Arbitrarily, it goes down. But it depends on what it looks like, because it can also go up. Depends on what precedes it or follows it. And you do that simply to make it visually easier to watch. And there's a little tie there, or the tie goes here. If the stems are going up, you tie it below. If the stems are going down, you tie it above. So it looks like that. These are some engraving rules. All right? Occasionally, you'll have to break those, but rarely. These are just as important. How do you engrave music? How do you write it out so that somebody else can take a look at what you've done and reproduce it? The engraving rules are just as important as these major, minor, triadic rules, key relationship rules. These are the rules. Okay, so we're all good on that. Occasionally you're going to have more than one dot, and that would be a double dot. And what does that do? Have you seen that before? Okay, this first one adds half the value plus half the value of that, and then the second one adds half again. Okay? So just know that dots are halves, and yum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum. You need to get a dot on a note to make it do something like that. Trumpet calls, trumpeters need that more than anybody else. Or upper kind of things. Flutes have it sometimes. All right, any questions on page 19? I'm hearing nothing. We'll move forward. Other durations may be achieved, number B, by the use of the tie. Must be used for durations extending from one measure to another. In other words, if you go over a measure, you have to tie it into the next measure. Can you use a tie within a measure? Any reason why not? No, no reason at all. So in other words, if you've got a measure here from this to this in 4/8, and you've got, let's do a quarter note, a dot, and an eighth note. Are we okay? Can you tie it? If you wanted to, yes. And there could be some reason why you're doing that. What could be a reason?
To make it look cool.
Well, it's the same duration as what? No, that's the same as that. For phrasing purposes, or what else? Stress. What else? Suppose you're going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and that's easier to read. Suppose you're doing a hymn, and in one verse you have a syllable here, on the other verse you don't. You tie it, in that case, you tie it with a dash, meaning that sometimes it's tied and sometimes it's not. So there's always rules and reasons for doing things in funky ways. If you just left it as this and put two syllables, well, where does the second syllable come? It could come anywhere. And this is much clearer, so you use this for clarity. It could be for all of the reasons that you gave are all good, and all would be correct. Okay? So there's lots of reasons why you can break that rule and do that. Okay? Good. Breaking rules is sometimes cool. Number 11, meter. Formal definition is what? Read it out loud. Meter is the organization of musical time into recurring patterns of accent or stress. Ho hum. Okay. So that's a good thing to know. Once you know it, all meter is how it's organized and how somebody can then see what you've done and reproduce it and get reasonably close to what you want as a composer. And they have accents and heavy accents and unaccented and things like that. Meter signatures, you have three kinds. They are duple, triple, and quadruple. Duple means what? Triple?
3.
Quadruple?
4.
4. Go to the head of the class. All right, so that's not terribly complicated. They can be simple or compound. Simple would be 2/4, 3/4. Compound. What's the definition of compound? What changes it from being simple to making it compound?
Divided by 3.
Okay. Anybody else have anything else?
The 1 that is divisible by the 2.
Uh-huh.
Three background per beat.
3 backgrounds in the beat in the compounds. Yep. Bum, 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 bum. Yep. Bum, 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 bum. Leonard Bernstein made a fortune on that.
They have 3.
I love it.
I want to be in America. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, yeah. That's he made a fortune. And that's all it is. Simple, duple, triple, duple. Yeah, that's what we do. Okay, so, and then you just multiply that out. Quadruple is organized in a measure of 4 provisionally, but all it is 2 duples. You see that? Look at your page. It's exactly what you had at the duple times 2. Okay, if you had octuple, it'd be the same thing times 4, and all that kind of stuff. Triple becomes sextuple meter. Well, these are theoretical, and you don't need that. You just keep it simple. All right. You have related meters looking at page 22. B, related meters are meters having the same number of beats and the same type of division of the beat, but different beat values. In other words, 2/4 and 2/8. It's related. There's still 2 beats in the measure, but the kind of note getting one of the beat has changed. So you have to be careful there, or rhythmically you can really screw up. Equivalent meters are meters having the same number of beats in the same background unit, but different divisions of the beat. 2/4 and 6/8 have 2 beats, but a background of 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 1 2 1 2 1 2 3. They're equivalent, but they are different. Rhythm versus meter. We need to know some definitions here. Rhythm refers to the actual choice and distribution of notes within a bar. Meter is all the possibilities that you can use. The rhythm of your piece is determined by the meter you choose. Can you have a rhythm without a meter? Is that a rhythm? How would you clap that? 1. Anybody? Okay, that's rhythm. Does it have a meter?